This is a story of unconditional love, a love story we would want to keep in our hearts. A man married a beautiful girl. He loved her very much. One day she developed a skin disease. Slowly she started to lose her beauty. It so happened that one day her husband left for a tour. While returning, he met with an accident and lost his eyesight. However, their married life continued as usual. But as days passed, she lost her beauty gradually. Blind husband did not know this, and there was not any difference in their married life. He continued to love her, and she also loved him very much. One day she died. Her death brought him a great sorrow. He finished all her last rites and wanted to leave that town. A man from behind called and said, "Now how will you be able to walk all alone? All these days your wife used to help you." He replied, "I am not blind. I was acting because if she knew Elle could see her skin condition due to a disease, it would have pained her more than her disease. I didn't love her for her beauty alone, but I fell in love with her caring and loving nature. So I pretended to be blind. I only wanted to keep her happy." When you truly love someone, you will go to any extent to keep your loved one happy, and sometimes it is good for us to act blind and ignore one another's shortcomings in order to be happy. The beauty will fade with time, but heart and soul will always be the same. Love the person for what she is from inside, not from outside.
Let me share a story about life. A man slaughtered a big cow, lit the grill, and said to his daughter, "Daughter, call our relatives, friends, and neighbors to eat with us. Let us feast." His smart daughter took to the street and started shouting, "Please help us put out a fire at my dad's house." After a few moments, a small group of people came out, and the rest acted like they didn't hear her cry for help. Those who came ate and drank until late. The stunned father turned to his daughter and said to her, "The people who came, I barely know them. Some I have never seen them before. So where are our relatives, friends, and neighbors?" The daughter replied her father, "Those who came out of their homes came to help us put out a fire in our house and not for the party. These are the ones who deserve our generosity and hospitality. Let me tell you this. The people you think were yours have never been yours. This is the irony of the life we live."
10 most important lessons about money and finance schools don't teach you. The video is a bit long because I'll share the lessons I've learned during the past 10 years. Number 1. The rich make their money work for them. You must have heard the phrase, live to work or work to live. If you work for money, your mind will start thinking like an employee. If you start thinking differently like a rich person, you will see things differently. It's not how much money you make that matters. It's how much money you keep. Number 2. Financial education is your greatest asset. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth. Intelligence solves problems and produces money, but money without financial intelligence is quickly lost. Number 3. Know the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Rich people acquire assets, shares, and property investments, and poor people add liabilities, commitments, and obligations. Number 4. Don't be controlled by emotions. Fear keeps people in this trap of working hard, earning money, working hard, earning money, and hoping that it will reduce their fear. They're scared of investing or taking a leap of faith and opening up a business. Secondly, many people are driven by the greed of wanting to get rich quickly. That's why it's important to have a plan, either a strategic property investment plan for your investments or a business plan for your business. Having a plan helps you not be swayed by the emotions of fear and greed. Number 5. Work to acquire life skills, not for money. Work to learn, don't work to earn. Find a job where you can learn life skills. Learning can make you much more knowledgeable and can provide you with unique skills to improve your professional situation. Learn something about accounting, investing, markets, the law, sales, marketing, leadership, writing, speaking, and negotiating. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Number 6. Failure inspires winners and defeats losers. Every rich person has lost money at some point, but many poor people have never lost a cent. Interestingly, just like the poor, the rich also have a fear of losing money, but the main difference between the rich and the poor is how they manage fear. Playing not to lose money means you will never make money. Failure inspires winners and defeats losers. When something does not work out the way you planned, let it inspire you to try a different approach. Learn and move on. Number 7. Learn to manage risk. Investment is not risky. Not knowing the investment is risky. If you want to reduce the risk, then increase your knowledge. Number 8. Mind your own business. If you have a job, keep your job and start a part-time business and work it. Never leave your job until you build your own business. Don't struggle all of your life for someone else. Start your own business and grow it. Number 9. Find a reason. Everyone wants to be rich, but many of us don't want to struggle. Why do you want to earn more passive income? For many people, it's because they don't want to work all their life. They want to have control over how they spend their time. Others want to support their children financially, yet others want to give to the community or charity. Write down your why, because it will keep you motivated. If you don't have a reason, then it is difficult to stay on the path to wealth. Remember, it's not your fault if you were born poor, but it will be your fault if you die poor. Number 10. Pay yourself first. If you can't get control of your own finances, then it's difficult to get rich. If you lack financial discipline, then it is impossible to become rich. So pay yourself first. Each month, first invest a certain amount of money into income-generating assets before you pay your bills. Use this pressure to pay to inspire you to come up with innovative ways to get enough money to pay the bills before the bill collector comes knocking at your door. This is a difficult but very important principle. Always pay your bills. Just pay yourself first, not last. If you pay yourself last, you would feel no pressure, but you would probably not come up with new sources of income either. Of course, this is exactly what the taxman does. He takes money out of your pay packet each week before you receive it, knowing that if he doesn't do that, it will be very hard to get the money from you at the end of the year. The last question to end the video. If I stopped working today, how long could I survive?
A young woman went to her mother and told her about her life and how things were so hard for her. She did not know how she was going to make it and wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling. It seemed that as one problem was solved, a new one arose. Her mother took her to the kitchen. She filled 3 pots with water and placed each on a high fire. Soon the pots came to a boil. In the first she placed carrots, in the second she placed eggs, and in the last she placed ground coffee beans. She let them sit and boil without saying a word. In about 20 minutes she turned off the burners. She fished the carrots out and placed them in a bowl. She pulled the eggs out and placed them in a bowl. Then she ladled the coffee out and placed it in a bowl. Turning to her daughter, she asked, "Tell me, what do you see?" "Carrots, eggs, and coffee," the daughter replied. Her mother brought her closer and asked her to feel the carrots. She did, and noted that they were soft. The mother then asked the daughter to take an egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, the mother asked the daughter to sip the coffee. The daughter smiled as she tasted its rich aroma. The daughter then asked, "What does it mean, Mother?" Her mother explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity, boiling water. Each reacted differently. The carrot went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile. Its thin outer shell had protected its liquid interior, but after sitting through the boiling water, its inside became hardened. The ground coffee beans were unique, however. After they were in the boiling water, they had changed the water. "Which are you?" she asked her daughter. "When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? Think of this. Which am I? Am I the carrot that seems strong, but with pain and adversity do I wilt and become soft and lose my strength? Am I the egg that starts with a malleable heart but changes with the heat? Did I have a fluid spirit, but after a death, a breakup, a financial hardship, or some other trial, have I become hardened and stiff? Does my shell look the same, but on the inside am I bitter and tough with a stiff spirit and hardened heart? Or am I like the coffee bean? The bean actually changes the hot water, the very circumstance that brings the pain. When the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and flavor. If you are like the bean, when things are at their worst, you get better and change the situation around you. When the hour is darkest and trials are their greatest, do you elevate yourself to another level? How do you handle adversity? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? May you have enough happiness to make you sweet, enough trials to make you strong.
There was a king and his assistant who were close to each other. The assistant was beside the king through thick and thin. The assistant has this habit of saying everything is good. Whatever happens to them, good or bad, he would always say those words, everything is good. Whenever they won or lost, whenever they survived an attack by mountain bandits, or whenever they were caught in a terrible storm outside, the assistant would exclaim, everything is good. One day the king and his assistant went hunting. They did not realize that they were already lost in the forest. The assistant used his long sword to cut the thick bushes along the way. The king would then follow him. By accident, the assistant moved the sword in a wrong direction and cut the right thumb of the king. The assistant profoundly asked for forgiveness from the king and said, everything is good. But the king was furious. When they arrived home, the angry king ordered his subordinates to put his assistant to jail. The assistant was imprisoned for the rest of his life, but the assistant still exclaimed, everything is good. After a few months, the king went back hunting again. This time he was alone. On his way, he did not notice that he was already in a territory dominated by cannibals who later captured him. These cannibals do not eat a captive unless he has complete body parts. When they saw that the king's thumb was missing, they set him free. The king ran as fast as he could. When he arrived home, he went immediately to his assistant in prison and ordered his men to set his assistant free. He narrated to his assistant what happened to him. After the assistant heard the whole story, he happily exclaimed, everything is good. If I were with you, I would have been the one captured and eaten alive by the cannibals. Whatever we have is a gift. Whatever may happen to you, good or bad, it is still good. There is always a blessing and a purpose in everything.
I had spent an hour in the bank with my dad as he had to transfer some money. I couldn't resist myself and asked, Dad, why don't we activate your internet banking? Why would I do that? He asked. Well, then you won't have to spend an hour here for things like transfer. You can even do your shopping online. Everything will be so easy. I was so excited about initiating him into the world of net banking. He asked, if I do that, I won't have to step out of the house? Yes, yes, I said. I told him how everything can be delivered at door. His answer left me tongue-tied. He said, since I entered this bank today, I have met 4 of my friends. I have chatted a while with the staff who know me very well by now. You know I am alone. This is the company that I need. I like to get ready and come to the bank. I have enough time. It is the physical touch that I crave. When I got sick, the store owner from whom I buy fruits came to see me and sat by my bedside and cried. When your mom fell down a few days back while on her morning walk, our local grocer saw her and immediately got his car to rush her home as he knows where I live. Would I have that human touch if everything became online? Why would I want everything delivered to me and force me to interact with just my computer? I like to know the person that I'm dealing with and not just the seller. It creates bonds of relationships. Does Amazon deliver all this as well? Technology isn't life. Spend time with people, not with devices.
This is a story of unconditional love. A love story we would want to keep in our hearts. A man married a beautiful girl. He loved her very much. One day she developed a skin disease. Slowly she started to lose her beauty. It so happened that one day her husband left for a tour. While returning, he met with an accident and lost his eyesight. However, their married life continued as usual. But as days passed, she lost her beauty gradually. Blind husband did not know this, and there was not any difference in their married life. He continued to love her, and she also loved him very much. One day she died. Her death brought him a great sorrow. He finished all her last rites and wanted to leave that town. A man from behind called and said, "Now how will you be able to walk all alone? All these days your wife used to help you." He replied, "I am not blind. I was acting because if she knew Elle could see her skin condition due to a disease, it would have pained her more than her disease. I didn't love her for her beauty alone, but I fell in love with her caring and loving nature. So I pretended to be blind. I only wanted to keep her happy." When you truly love someone, you will go to any extent to keep your loved one happy, and sometimes it is good for us to act blind and ignore one another's shortcomings in order to be happy. The beauty will fade with time, but heart and soul will always be the same. Love the person for what she is from inside, not from outside.
In a train, two children were running here and there. Sometimes they would fight with each other, and at times they would jump on top of seats. The father, sitting nearby, was lost in his thoughts. In between, when the children looked at him, he would put on an affectionate smile, and then the children would again get busy with their mischief, and the father would keep looking at them lovingly. The co-travellers of the train were upset by the children's playfulness and annoyed by the father's attitude. Since it was night time, everyone wanted to rest. Seeing the running around of the children, a traveller could not stop himself and exclaimed to the father, "What kind of father are you? The children are behaving so naughtily, and instead of stopping them, you are encouraging them with your smiles. Is it not your duty to explain to them?" The father paused for a few moments and said, "I am just thinking how to explain it to them, brother." The man said, "My wife had gone to her maternal home. She passed away yesterday due to an accident. I am taking the children there for the final rites, and now I am confused how to explain to them that now they will never see their mother again." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Let alone saying something, nobody was even able to think straight. The children were still engaged in their mischiefs. They were still running around in the compartment. There was no change in the atmosphere, but those children were no longer looking like undisciplined kids to the co-passengers, but were looking like soft young flowers on which everyone wanted to pour their love. The father was no longer a careless person, but now he was seen as the father and the mother of two children, saddened by the separation of his life partner. The moral of the story is, don't judge a book by its cover. It is easy to make assumptions about people based on their behavior or appearance, but we should take the time to understand their circumstances before making judgments. By doing so, we can gain a deeper appreciation for others and show empathy and kindness.
A boy was born to a couple after 11 years of marriage. They were a loving couple, and the boy was the gem of their eyes. When the boy was around 2 years old, one morning the husband saw a medicine bottle open. He was late for office, so he asked his wife to cap the bottle and keep it in the cupboard. His wife, preoccupied in the kitchen, totally forgot about the open medicine bottle. The boy saw the bottle and playfully went to the bottle, fascinated by its color, and drank it all. It happened to be a poisonous medicine meant for adults in small dosages. When the child collapsed, mother hurried him to the hospital where he died. The mother was stunned. She was terrified how to face her husband. When the distraught father came to the hospital and saw the dead child, he looked at his wife and uttered just 5 words. The husband just said, "I am with you, darling." The husband's totally unexpected reaction is a proactive behavior. The child is dead. He can never be brought back to life. There is no point in finding fault with the mother. Besides, if only he had taken time to keep the bottle away, this would not have happened. No one is to be blamed. She had also lost her only child. What she needed at that moment was consolation and sympathy from the husband. That is what he gave her. If everyone can look at life with this kind of perspective, there would be much fewer problems in the world. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take off all your envies, jealousies, unforgiveness, selfishness, and fears, and you will find things are actually not as difficult as you think. Sometimes we spend time in asking who is responsible or whom to blame, whether in a relationship, in a job, or with the people we know. By this way, we miss out some warmth in human relationship.